Stavros Fasoulas was one of the most well-known game developers for the Commodore 64. He's remembered by Sanxion, Delta, and Quedex, which were published by the British company Thalamus. They hired him in 1986 after he attended a PCW conference in London. In November the same year, Sanxion was published. It was the first Finnish game that ended up in the international markets. Stavros Fasoulas was born in Finland towards the end of the 1960s. His father was Greek and his mother was Finnish. The name Stavros means cross in Greek, referring to the cross that symbolizes Christianity. Fasoulas grew up in Finland and started learning basic coding on a computer at his school in 1982. After that, he moved on to using his friend's VIC-20 to learn machine language. Fasoulas kept asking his dad to get him a Commodore 64, and finally his dreams came true in 1984. As a result, Commodore 64 became Fasoulas' preferred tool. Fasoulas published his first Commodore 64 game, The Odyssey, in 1984, which he distributed free of charge. It was a sword game with a lot of elements borrowed from the ancient Greek mythology. Fasoulas' first commercial game, Joe the Whiz Kid, was published in 1985. Along with game development, he also worked as a magazine assistant at Microbitty from even before the first issue was out. Fasoulas tried to enter the British game market many times, and on the third try, he even got all the way to signing a contract with a company, only for it to soon go bankrupt. His fourth try brought him more success. Fasoulas signed a contract with a company called Thalamus after meeting them at a PCW conference in London in 1986. Zap 64 magazine describes the meeting as follows. But better still was a program brought by a strange-looking long-haired fellow in checkered golfing-style trousers. He approached me and said, "Hello, I am from Finland and have got very bit good gem to show." Indeed, Rainbow Warrior, as it was then called, was very impressive, but it was several months until it was finally released. Zap 64 had already made fun of Fasoulas' bad English, and while waiting for Sanxion to be published, the magazine published his comments about the game in its October 1986 issue. "Is good video game. I very pleased with it. I hope you too like Sanxion. You don't, is tough. My memory, she is full. I can't do no more." It took 2.5 months for Fasoulas to finish Sanxion, and the game was published the same year. It became the first Finnish game that entered the international markets. Sanxion was well received, and in the December 1986 issue of the game magazine Microbitty, Nico Nervi called Fasoulas the Paavo Nurmi of computer games. Fasoulas spent 4 months in 1987 creating a space shooting game called Delta, which was the same type of game as Nemesis. At the time, Fasoulas was only 19 years old. The same year was published Quedex, which took him 5 months to develop. He had spent the first 3 months building the basic routines and the rest 2 on building the 10 fields in the game. Speaking about programming, Quedex was the most difficult game that Fasoulas had ever made. In his own words, he mentioned that the game represented the best that he was able to make at the time. After Quedex, Stavros Fasoulas seemed to have joined a group called Duck Software. They're known for a game called Rainbow Dragon, which was published by Firebird in 1988. The group was also working on a game titled Cargo, which however was never published. Fasoulas went away to join the army, and after he returned from his military service in the early 90s, he created a game called Galactic for Amiga together with Jussi Pietila and Antti Toivainen. The game was noted in industry press, but they didn't find a publisher for it. In the end, Galactic was published in 1993 as a Christmas giveaway for a British magazine, The One. Together with a gifted graphic designer Janne Oksanen, Stratos, Fasoulas started designing a game called PID, Private Investigator Dollar Rally, in 1991. He also established a game company, Terramark, together with Ilari Kuitinen, and paused working on Private Investigator Dollar Rally as he spent all his time and energy supervising the development of Elfmania. Elfmania was published in 1994, and Fasoulas didn't want to be listed as one of the developers of the game, but apart from supervising the development, he was also responsible for the game's artificial intelligence. Once Elfmania was ready, Fasoulas returned to finish up Private Investigator Dollar Rally, but after Amiga died off, the planned publisher Renegade decided to scrap the game in 1994. After this, the 26-year-old Fasoulas decided to quit making computer games. Despite the tentative plans that he had with Sony to publish PID in connection with the launch of PlayStation, the development of PID was terminated. It became the last game that Fasoulas coded and designed. According to some sources, Stavros Fasoulas lives in San Francisco without any access to computers, the internet, or email.